Hey everyone, welcome to episode 8 of Sooner Girls Sports Pod. I hope you enjoy my interview with Dr. Tina Floyd, who is the owner of the OKC Spark professional softball team. I'm very grateful for Tina giving me her time to share her vision and reasoning behind starting the professional team, and her vision for women in sports is very inspirational. So enjoy my interview with Dr. Tina Floyd of the OKC Spark. Dr. Tina Floyd is a lifelong learner who continues to grow and learn daily. She is dedicated to finding equality and equity for women in the male-dominated fields. She was born a Sooner fan as the only child of a Sooner dad, and her favorite Sooner memory is meeting little Joe Washington with her dad when she was only 10 years old. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
For giving me part of your day. I know you're a very busy lady. So tell me, how did the Spark come about? Because when I first heard that we were getting a professional team in Oklahoma City, I was pumped. Because, football is my first love, so to speak. Softball's come a long way over the years. I was at OU in the early 2000s in school. And so since then, I was there in 2000 when they won the national championship. And obviously over the years, it's come a long way. And so I've seen a lot of progression. So again, back to my original question, I was ecstatic to see that a professional team was going to be in our backyard. So I'm super pumped that you did this because I was at game one ever, of course, because I couldn't miss it. And yeah, it's incredible. So tell me how this came about.
Well, just through progression of, I want to say maybe being in the right spot at the right time and just being surrounded by the right people. But, I've watched what Coach Gasso's done there at OU for a long time and got to be, part of her little circle and what she created, not little, which was amazing. And just getting to see what she does with the ladies on the field, but then off the field, and that was just key for me. So I always wanted to help give to that program. But then, enter Lauren Chamberlain was the commissioner of the league we were in. And
Yes.
She and I were friends at the time. And I just knew I wanted to be involved, but I didn't know how. And I kept telling Lauren, tell me what I can do. Tell me what to do. Mm-hmm. It's my big passion is moving women forward. So we talked. And then finally my husband and I just said, why isn't there a team in Oklahoma City? And Lauren just said it just hasn't been the right fit yet. And so we talked, and it was like, I think that's what we need to do. So
Perfect.
Put our money there, and here we are.
Wow. Well, we're coming into season 3.
Yes.
And I agree that there's no better place to have a professional team than Oklahoma City because of the facilities and, all the OU girls close by is a great place to start for recruiting, obviously.
Yes.
And so how is that going to work? I know the first year, was it the first year you guys were part of the draft, the BPF draft, which obviously went independent last summer, which seemed to be an excellent move.
Right, thank you.
What's the plan for this summer as far as draft or whatever that will look like?
Well, fortunately, we're returning, I think, 13 or 14 from last year.
That's fantastic.
I think our fans here in Oklahoma will be happy to see that we've kept most of ours. It's hard because softball isn't year round and it's not very sustainable for let's say a single mom or a married mom or anybody. It's not there. So most of them have a second job or do something else. So those that need to go on, you can't blame them. They can't play forever. That's the tough part of it. But so looking down the road for a draft, we'll still be independent this summer by nature. That's by choice, I should say. Something we felt very passionate about, so we're going to stay that way. I would look for 2026 for there to be some movement.
Okay.
And a formalized league, whatever that looks like. But we know the fans of Oklahoma deserve more, and so do our athletes. We don't want them playing independently forever. But I think the athletes that have been with me since day one know why we did it and know it was needed to happen. So you'll get to see maybe a couple of new faces, but unfortunately, most of ours returned. So a draft.
That's good.
I know. I think last year, Coach Flores does that. She's the one that, she knows who she wants to go after. So we just wait on her to kind of tell us, and then we start contacting. As soon as that last day of play, we can't contact them until that last day of play. And then as soon as that happens, we're ready.
Awesome. That's exciting. So 2 summers ago, you traveled to the UK, and then last summer that team came here.
Yes.
So is that still happening?
We both want to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how realistic it is with the Olympics getting so close now
Oh,
and
true.
then being back in the Olympics. Everybody has to go to qualifiers and play different places. So we've talked, and even with USA, because we played them last summer, they have qualifiers in, I think, Colombia, and just so it's hard, especially 3 years out now from the Olympics. But
Yes.
we'll get back together with them at some point if it's not this summer.
Well, I was talking to Tyler McComas from KREF. I
Yes.
met him last fall. He's a super kind guy. So
Yes.
I recorded with him this morning, actually. But anyway, we were talking about Coach Gasso and the Olympics and how amazing that it is that it's going to be in Oklahoma City and just the facilities and everything and how cool that's going to be. So that'll be an interesting summer, I guess, for you guys too, because
I think it will be an interesting summer, and even as we get closer, like I said, they play these different events and qualifiers. So that summer will be really difficult and different for any league that's playing professionally. And I think that's a piece we all have to work on as owners or a league in the professional space. Or how do we handle that? How do we,
Yeah, that's going to be interesting for
It
sure. Well, I know it's hard for you guys because, like you said, you can't even talk to anyone until after they're finished with their collegiate
Correct.
games. And so that, puts you even into June. And
does.
so is the timetable still for you guys right now anyway to start in late June? Start
We
playing?
will start June 15th-ish.
Perfect. Okay.
And that's really because of what you just said. Let's say we want to talk to somebody who is playing in the series, the final series of the World Series. That pushes us to almost June 9th, 10th to usually get to talk to them, because you cannot talk to them until they're finished playing. So then you talk to them, let's say the 10th of June. You're asking those females to make a decision within 1 to 2 days, pack up their college life, and report and play for you, and be part of a new team within 3 to 4 days.
That's a lot.
That's very lot, and it's a lot, and it's not fair yet. We're still working on that piece of being fair and equal, but that's tough. That's a lot to ask them to do.
It is. I agree. I can totally understand that. I feel like you guys, you play about 6 to 8 weeks usually.
Yes, about 8 weeks.
And I feel like it goes by so fast, but it's such a great, for me as just a sports fan in general, it's a good holdover from the World Series to football season. So I love it, but I know that I feel like it goes by so fast. Of course, those girls might be tired, especially the ones coming right out of college. They might think, I need a break, and here they are playing into August, but I love it. I'm here for it. So
Good. We need that.
So back to your comment you made earlier about how you wanted to support women in sports, and that's kind of how you started the team and the league. That's incredible, and that's honestly kind of what got my attention with wanting to talk to you, is because I know I'm on a much smaller scale, obviously, but that's really was my goal with what I'm doing. I never thought I would be doing anything like this, and I'm sure you can say the same.
Absolutely.
It's not like you woke up one day and said, I think I'll have a softball team. But I certainly felt that way for even being a podcaster, because I love sports in general, all sports, and I watch football and I watch NFL, and of course softball is my second love, very close to football. But I just felt like there's so many times that I've been places, and as a woman, a lot of times men don't want to talk to you, or they don't think that you can keep up with them, so to speak, because you're a woman. Like, you don't know what you're talking about, especially with football. But that always kind of bothered me. And so I've gotten more outspoken over the years, just with, hey, I can hold my own for the most part in these conversations. And it takes a lot of audacity, I guess you could call it, just to speak up in these conversations. And I had so many people who, when I told them I was doing this, they were like, I can't believe you haven't done this sooner, because I'll sit down and talk to anybody about OU sports, any sport at any given time for any length of time that I have available. And so when I started doing this, I thought, this is such a passion of mine, because I do want women to have that space just to speak and to take up space in the world, even in my little small corner of the internet, to have that space to speak out and say, this is what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and here I am. And I've enjoyed doing it so far, just from my perspective, and it's been incredible. The people I've gotten to talk to, and I appreciate you sharing your perspective on that. So
You.
I I just kind of wanted you to expound on that a little bit on what your feelings with that.
Yeah, I also have three daughters that are grown.
Okay.
So having raised them and always telling them, the same type of thing what you were saying, know your worth, know your value.
Yes.
Don't let someone tell you you can't. So living by that mantra, fast forward, I was an educator for 20 years. I was a teacher and then a
Okay.
principal. So the same type thing, but during that time I went and got two masters, both in education, and then I ended up getting my doctorates in education, and my whole
Oh wow.
thesis, all of it was on the underrepresentation of women in collegiate sports.
Wow, that's incredible.
So it's always been something I've done, and it's like, God, I love this. I want to study about it. I want to preach it to my kids, but how can I impact even more and more women, not just in sports, but in male-oriented careers, spaces.
Yes.
And I'll be honest with you, and it was something Coach Gasso told me probably 7, 8 years ago. She's like, when you get a seat at the table as a woman, when you get a seat at that table, don't ever get up and don't ever let it go. And I was like, that's profound. And she's right.
That's so true.
So
That's very true.
learning from other women who have kind of broken through those ceilings has been pivotal for me as well. Because I make mistakes every day, but you own them and go on. But getting to learn and watch some of these other powerhouse women is amazing. Just even watching from
Absolutely.
afar, like someone like Dawn Staley. I mean, look at what we have to look up to now. We have a Coach
Yes.
Matha, we have a Dawn Staley, and there's just so many powerful women doing some great things.
Absolutely. I agree. I love Dawn Staley. Talk about somebody that has audacity to take up space. That is
Yes,
for sure her, but she's so fun to watch and she has created quite the culture
she
out
has.
there in South Carolina. But yeah, she's incredible to watch. So Lauren Chamberlain, I know, is someone you mentioned earlier, and being a Sooner, obviously I've
Yeah,
recognized her name for years.
absolutely.
But she really had a lot of glass shattering moments herself with doing all that she did. I mean, she had an incredible journey. She's definitely been one that set a really high standard for women, and not only in sports, like as an athlete, but just as what she's done professionally. So, and she,
100%.
like you said, she really helped you a lot get where you're at.
Yeah, she was definitely one that just had a vision too for where she wanted to see this sport go and grow. And I think, she's happy now raising a family. She's
Yes,
doing her thing, and she left her mark on the sport, that's for sure.
she
But I think
did.
it's exciting to get to watch, someone like a Jocelyn Allo come in and be that next, face in the space. And we're fortunate that we have those women in Oklahoma. I remember when my daughters were playing, it was Jenny Finch, like, and it still
Oh,
is.
yes.
When I still see Jenny, I get
Hmm.
starstruck.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, I mean, there's just those women, and I think Lauren will always be one of those faces. And now you have a Jocelyn and Mackenzie. I mean, there's so many different faces that are coming in for these girls to get to look up to. And they're fortunate because, again, when I was smaller and you were, it just probably didn't exist as much. So,
Not at all. Not
yes,
at all. It's crazy to see. So I was at OU from 1998, and so during that, even that time alone, softball did a
yes,
complete 180, because I remember them playing at Reeves Park and scheduling between city league games and
yes,
picking up trash, and there was no stands to sit in or anything back then. And then, oh, here came Marita Hinesfield,
yeah,
and it was a monstrosity at its time, and it more than served its purpose. And it's crazy just to think how far, and they're honestly like a trailblazer in the world of softball, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know that anybody would disagree with that.
no,
But now here we are at Love's Field, and I went last year to the opener at Love's Field because I obviously could not miss that. And I just remember walking in there the first time. It's kind of like the first time you go to Hall of Fame. You just walk in there and you're like, holy smokes, like they play softball here.
yes,
And these little girls that walk in there and they just think, I want to be on this stage someday. And so it's cool for them to see those Oklahoma girls
I agree.
then in turn come and play for a professional team, and they can still watch them.
And
And
that's what
that's
it's all
the,
about. Yeah,
yes, it is.
yeah,
I think it's incredible, and I just love it so much. It's really neat, like social media. I mean, I'm a social media marketer. That's my day job.
okay,
So, of course, it's easy for me to say this. Social media has honestly changed the game in the world in general, but for me, I've always told people, as far as sports goes, like if you can't attend it, watch it on TV.
Yeah.
If you can't watch it on TV, follow it on social media. I mean,
Right.
Twitter or X, most teams are active on that platform, and there's somebody keeping up with, keeping you informed during games. So if I'm not at an OU event or a Spark game, I've been very thankful. Are you guys going to have online for this coming summer? Okay, good. I do. I watched the Spark play online the last couple summers when I'm not there, and listening on the radio and Twitter. You know, there's a lot of times if I'm on an airplane or something, I've been known to get Wi-Fi just so I can listen to a softball game because it happens.
I get it.
It happens.
What you gotta do.
But I love listening to Chris Plank, and that's kind of how we became friends. Like I saw him, and I went up to him several years ago, and we just started talking, and now he's a dear friend of mine. But, you know, having those avenues available for people to follow, not only listening on the radio, but that social media,
Right.
and now, you know, it's everywhere with, you know, posting photos and videos and all the things just to keep everybody drawn in. And it's interesting, too, to see, I'm sure, especially for you guys, because your team is only active a couple of months out of the year, technically. But you can't just disappear for 10 months out of the year. You've got to be seen on social media. So what are you going to post, and who's going to post it and create it and all that? It's a whole thing. But it's really changed the world and the game, because it, like I said, it's nice that you can follow along to whoever and whatever you want really at any time.
Absolutely.
And so it's important to capitalize on that. And I think you guys do a good job at that. Like I said, for only being active, technically, you know, 8 weeks out of the year, but you're very active on social media.
Yeah, that's a struggle of it that I don't know if we anticipated as much as we, you know, as this affected us, but we hired a strong marketing company, Old Hat. They do a lot of colleges, they do USA. So they have those plans that keep us relevant and keep us, you know, on people's brains in the off season, because that's what you have to do. Yeah.
You do, and you guys do very well at that. And it is good too. Like I saw recently, I think Kinsey and Jada are doing a clinic in Denison, Texas.
Yeah.
You know, so obviously you need to market that and everything. But it's kind of crazy, but you need social media to get that word out, and people are eating it up. So you guys are doing a good job at that. That's for sure. So I was at the OU softball luncheon a few weeks ago. It was really cool. I had never gone before, and I had an opportunity to go this year, and it just worked out with my schedule, and I was like, I'm just going to go. And I didn't know anyone there. I ended up running into somebody that I knew, and then I made some new friends. Yeah, so it was a lot of fun.
And I've gone in years past, and it's always a fantastic event. I love to get to hear Coach talk and JT and Jen, and it's just always really good. I just couldn't this year, but it's a very good event.
That's understandable. Yeah, I was very glad to be able to make it this year. I love that you guys got a Sooner to head up coaching the Spark, because you can't go wrong with that for sure.
She does a great job at Seminole State. She's led them to World Series, you know, so many times. So it's a great fit, and our athletes for the Spark just love her. They love her.
Oh,
they
good.
Her. She's great with them. So
that's awesome. She seems really incredible. Well, I am anxiously awaiting the schedule to come out for the summer, which I'm sure will be soon.
We're looking at around the 1st of March sometime. So it's getting very soon. Yes. So yeah, we have lots of things to announce, to talk about. So again, we're excited to be back in season 3 now. Yeah. We will be playing some of the same teams we saw last year. The New York team, which has Nicole Mendez on there, a couple different, I think Shanice Dells, who played for us her first season.
Yes.
So good competition. We'll play the Florida team.
Okay, yes.
They have a Taylor Maple. He has some great talent on there too.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So we'll play both of those two, and then some international play. And we just have some different things, some different looks up our sleeve this year. So we're excited about that.
Awesome. I'm pumped. I'm always ready to come. As
Good.
soon as the schedule comes out, my oldest niece, she's 18 now, but I've always taken her to OU gymnastics and softball. That's kind of our thing that we've
Uh-huh.
done for years. And so, again, when the Spark
There you go.
started, I said, we've got a new tradition. And so, sure enough, the first season I made it to, I bought like a mini pack of
Yes.
season tickets. So we made like 5 or 6
Oh,
games that
good.
season.
Good.
And last season we made it up to 3 or 4.
Good.
But yeah, we love to come. And I guess the full season will be at Hall of Fame
Yeah,
this year.
we'll be making some announcements on that too. Coming
Okay.
soon. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I know at UCO the first season I had never been to that campus really, or to the softball stadium, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a smaller,
It
intimate
is, but it
atmosphere.
feels intimate and
Yes,
it's different. Yeah. So
it
we
was
get
different.
yeah.
It
Hall of
was a
Fame
lot
is
of
a
fun.
great place.
Yes, it really was. I mean, it was smaller, but it was nice because it was packed. I
Yes.
mean, there were no extra seats when
Nope.
I was there.
It's a good thing. Yes.
Yes, I know at Hall of Fame it has to be weird because it's usually packed during the World
Right.
Series and then not so much during Spark games. And that has to be weird for the players, especially like the OU girls that have
It
been
is. It's
there.
different. Yes.
Yeah, to think, where's all the people? And
Yep.
I hate that because I had gotten some extra tickets a couple of years ago and I was like telling people like, here, take the just go. I just
Yeah.
want you people to go and experience it and see what it's like and support the Spark
Yeah.
because it's incredible that you guys are doing that and I really want them to get more support.
Thank you. Yeah. It will get there. It's new and but it's hot. We get it, but
It is hot.
it's a little faster than a baseball game,
Yes.
and you can get out there and watch some Olympians truly
Yes.
play the game that they love and be out of there and be home, within 2.5, 3 hours. So
Yeah.
that's a pretty easy night and get to go have a little fun at the ballpark.
Yes. Well, and like you mentioned, there's a lot of big names on other teams that are coming in that the
Absolutely.
Spark are playing. Not that there's not enough big names on the Spark team itself for us Oklahoma girls, but there's so many other big names coming in too.
100%. Yes.
These little softball player little girls are just
Yeah.
fangirling and it's incredible. I know the few times that I was there last year at Hall of Fame, there were teams that were
Oh,
there,
yes.
like,
Yes.
other little softball teams.
They
And it's
travel.
yeah, it's easy for them to do like a little field trip or something,
Yes.
to come watch their idols play
Love to
on.
watch and they love to get those autographs and
Yes.
our ladies love to do that because that's just growing that game and letting these little ones see that someone that looks like them,
Yes.
can achieve at that level. So we enjoy doing that and giving back to that. That's what it's about.
It is. That is so cool too. And I know, Jocelyn Allo is probably one of the biggest names in softball, obviously, ever. And it's really cool that she is a Sooner and now she plays for the Spark and like she just had a new bat
Yes.
that
Oh
was
yeah.
released, last week or a few days ago, and her name is everywhere. And so her playing for you guys and playing in the backyard in Oklahoma, people
Absolutely.
need to get out and come watch her because she is really something else. So
I
I'm
agree.
excited. I'm
Thank
excited
you.
she'll be back.
Yes, I agree. She'll be back and come out and watch her this summer.
Oh, I will be there. I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Good.
Well, do you have any closing thoughts? Anything else you'd like to share?
I don't. I would encourage, like you said, encourage fans to come out to the ballpark. It's like I said, it's a quicker feel than a baseball game, and it's fun, and you can see grown women hit it to as far as you can imagine. It's just it's interesting every year after the women's college world series and the men's college world series to see those numbers. Women's the last 3 years have had 300 to 400 more views, 100,000 than the men. So I know it's there. I know there's something there. We have great fans and we have a great turnout on TV. So I would just say come out and support them and see what it's all about because you'll see them in the community. We like to give back and do those types of things. So get
Yes,
behind your local team because this is the only way we're going to
absolutely.
grow the sport.
Absolutely. One thing I did think of was Chelsea Alexander. He's
Yes.
not Alexander anymore.
It's your
My husband, yeah, my husband is actually an OSU grad, so he's a Poke, and
yeah.
so he's obviously thrilled of the few OSU faces that we'll
Yes.
see on the Spark. But I saw that she is working for you guys now, and that's really cool.
Yes, she's an amazing human. She played for us year one, got
Uh huh.
married, and then decided she was ready to be a mom. So not a big deal. If you want to be a mom, come back and play if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Chelsea decided, and that's what Kaylani did.
Uh huh.
Chelsea decided that she was ready to enter the workforce, so she worked a little bit at OSU, and we snatched her up, and now she's doing corporate sponsorships
Oh,
and
that's
working
right.
with
Okay.
our corporate people, and just a great person. So we're very fortunate to get to have Chelsea back in our organization in a different aspect and
Yes.
grow that way. So we're
That's
excited.
incredible. I saw that she was working in the corporate aspect of it, and I thought, that's just another way, honestly, to show girls like, hey, if you don't want to play softball, there's other things to do to support women's
That's
sports.
exactly
So
right. And she's killing it. So we're excited for that.
that's awesome.
Yes,
That is really neat.
it's a
Well,
great one.
I love everything that you've done
Thank
in
you.
Oklahoma City and
Thank
Norman and for the team and just for women's sports in general. And you've got a great coach and team and front
you.
office and all the things. So,
Congrats on what you're doing. Taking that step out and doing your podcast, that's awesome. So
well,
congrats.
thank you. Thank
Yes.
you so much. I, again, really appreciate you coming on today. Thank you again so much to Tina Floyd for taking the time to come on to the show with me for this week's episode. Now, I just wanted to take a few minutes to this week's Sooner headlines. I'm recording this on Sunday afternoon, March the 2nd, and our softball team just completed their run rule for the weekend, and we are now 19 and undefeated going into conference play, which starts on Friday in Norman. And the only other undefeated softball team is South Carolina, and they are coming to Norman with former Sooner Quincy Lilio on Friday night. And I will be there in person, and I am super excited about it because this is a very big opportunity for our softball girls as the only other undefeated team is coming to Norman. Quincy Lilio is their leading batter right now on their team. And again, she is a former Sooner, so we're very familiar with her. And in turn also means she is probably a little familiar with us as well. However, we do have a little bit of an advantage over her as far as the familiarity goes, just because our team is largely different from the team that she played with us just last season. Our baseball team also just swept their weekend over CSUN, and so now, as of today, our Diamond Sports are combined 30-0, undefeated on the diamond this season for OU baseball and OU softball is just incredible. And I do believe earlier on the broadcast during the softball game, Chris Plank pointed out that OU is the only baseball softball combo where both teams are undefeated. So both OU baseball and softball being undefeated is a very special statistic right now, and it's something that we definitely don't need to take for granted. I'm hoping that we can both extend that as we head into conference play in the next couple of weeks for baseball and then next weekend for softball. Our women's basketball team also just beat Alabama at home this afternoon for senior day. They acknowledged 5 seniors this afternoon: Nevaeh Tott, Lexi Keys, Skylar Van, Liz Scott, and Aubrey Jones. And as they defeated Alabama today, that helped their seeding in the SEC tournament, which starts midweek. And it looks like, as of right now, we will have a little higher seeding than we had perhaps anticipated with this win over Alabama today. So we should look at playing on Thursday evening in the SEC tournament. Our men's basketball has continued to break our hearts a little bit, but I'm going to tell you something. Those guys have been playing their hearts out, and I don't know if you have been watching or following along with the men's basketball team. I know it's been a struggle this season, especially as of late. They've lost some nail biters, they've lost some heartbreakers, some that they should have won, or some that they just perhaps didn't show up for, or however you want to look at it. But yesterday, freshman Dayton Forsyth, he really showed off. Now, y'all know I'm a little partial to him. I'm very good friends with his Aunt Mandy. But Dayton really showed off yesterday in Ole Miss during that game. He had 25 points. He had 2 rebounds, 3 assists. He played for 30 minutes in that game. And it was really interesting to see Sean Padula. He's an Oklahoma boy who's on the Ole Miss roster. And after the game, he had tweeted out and tagged Dayton Forsyth, which obviously he has some familiarity with him just from their former high school days in Oklahoma. But just knowing these former Oklahoma high school players have gone on to their respective schools and are really balling out. Like Sean Padula really put on a show yesterday. If you missed that game, it was really worth the watch. But it's also kind of hard to see like Otega Owe, who is now at Kentucky, and Brandon Garrison, who's an Oklahoma high school product, whereas Otega Owe is a former Sooner. Those two guys are on the Kentucky roster. They were in Norman last Wednesday night, and they really put it on Oklahoma. And that's really hard to watch, but I just try to remind myself that Oklahoma has a lot of talent, and I think that some of it is a little misplaced, perhaps, and it's just been a struggle, but as of right now, we're sitting just on the outside of that bubble for the tournament. I'm not sure how it's going to pan out. We will find out during Selection Sunday in the next week or so. For football, our major headline right now is the hire of our new GM, Jim Nagy, and he comes to us from the Reese Senior Bowl, and I don't personally know much about him outside of everything I've seen on social media. It's really a home run hire for us, is what I've been told from everybody on social media. They are really impressed that Oklahoma was able to snag him from the Senior Bowl. He's done excellent work there, and he's very well respected in the field. So I think that was a really good hire for us. And honestly, it says a lot about Oklahoma football and who we are as a program and where we're headed in the direction toward the way things are going with college football these days. Now, whether we all agree with it or like it or not, unfortunately, it just is what it is, and we need someone to lead us in the right direction going forward who knows what they're doing and has the tools to get us what we need to get there, and I believe that he does. Our women's gymnastics team, they rebounded nicely from their loss at number 2 LSU a couple of weeks ago. They have been really nailing it in their last couple of meets. They are still ranked number 1. Faith Torres got the first season perfect 10 on the floor last week, and their last home meet is this Friday night on March the 7th. It's Michigan at home. I highly encourage you to get out and support them if you can. If you missed on social media last week, KJ Kindler really went off a little bit and gave her peace of mind on the scoring this season and how she feels like it hasn't completely been fair, even for our home meets. A lot of the scoring has really been off, especially compared to previous seasons and the same athletes and the routines and the difficulty of the routines and things like that. And she just really felt like the scoring has not been accurate. And it was really interesting to listen to her on social media. So if you haven't gotten a chance to hear that, it was really cool to see her standing up for her athletes and her team and just how she knows the scoring usually goes and how that has affected things this season. I would like to end with this week's Sooner Fun Fact of the Week, and it is brought to you by Ham Oil Company. So thank you to my friend Jeremy for sponsoring our shows for the month of March. And the fun fact for the week is 22 women's basketball player Taylor Robertson became the team's first All-American selection since Erin Ellenberg in 2014. So a highlight on women's sport this week as our women's basketball team is heading into the SEC tournament. We wish them the best of luck. We wish our softball team the best of luck as they open conference play this week. Let's keep it rolling, girls. Thank you everyone again for your overwhelming continued support on social media, for all of the merch purchases and your podcast listens and download. If you haven't already, please like, follow, and subscribe across all social media at Sooner Girl Pod, and be sure and like and download and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. The link is posted in my bio, and that link will take you to everything you need to know about the podcast. If you have purchased merch, please send me a photo. I would love to have it. If you don't want it posted on social media, that's fine. Just note that in your message, or just post it on your own social media and give me a tag. I would greatly appreciate it. Our locker room huddle had our first online meeting just last week, and girls, it was so much fun. We had 4 attendees and we had a great time. We spent about 45 minutes just chatting and getting to know each other and talking about Sooner sports, and it's not too late to join in. I'm going to have a special meeting in the month of March to celebrate Merch March, and if you are a member of the locker room huddle, you have a discount code for your merch purchase. So it's not too late to join in on that. Again, everything is linked in my bio, and there is advertising and sponsorship opportunities available. You guys, I have a great lineup coming up, not just for the month of March, but going forward. I have some really big names coming this summer, so you're not going to want to miss out on this. So just shoot me a message on social media or send me an email to soonergirlsportspod@gmail.com. So again, thank you to Dr. Tina Floyd for joining me this week. Thank you to everyone for listening and sharing. And please invite a friend to follow us on Facebook or Instagram or across social media, and send someone an episode of the podcast to listen to that you think would enjoy that, and encourage them to give us a like, follow, and subscribe. So again, thank you everyone for your support. You won't want to miss next week's guest. It's a good one. So I will see you next Wednesday where we talk sports.